Pollution prevention. It raises the question of what do we do and how do we do it? To help us understand pollution prevention, we'll look at the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. EPA's idea of pollution prevention revolves around the concept that pollution prevention equals source reduction, and they define this concept as the prevention or reduction of hazardous substances within the environment by means of improvements, modifications, and substitutions to waste management practices. The goal is to improve and change hazardous waste management practices into non-hazardous and more efficient practices. Through continuous improvement, we not only participate in the selfless act of trying to help both the community and environment, we also think about the current costs and versus future benefits of helping the environment. When I was scrolling through EPA's 2015 major criminal cases, headlines such as Duke Energy's subsidiaries sentenced for criminal violations of Clean Water Act, West Virginia Oil and Gas Company fined $600,000 for criminal violations of Clean Water Act, and Hawaii firm to pay $1 million for harbor discharge of molasses stood out to me. This is because of the 14 cases presented, 10 of them involved companies. And while looking at the 2013 and 2017 criminal cases, 11 of the 13 involved companies and 12 of the 14 involved companies, respectively. This possible trend is why I believe that we should enforce EPA's Pollution Prevention Act. We will be able to see why I chose this stance by looking at EPA's role in both community and environment, as well as looking at counter-arguments and the rebuttals I make against them. To hit things off, on National Geographic's waste reference page, they wrote 2 reasons why companies may illegally dispose of waste. One said that it was easier and cheaper to dispose legally than to safely pay for it to be removed. And the other said companies are caring about getting rid of the waste, not how they get rid of it. Let us address the issue with reason number 1. James Hamilton and Kip Viscusi, authors of the book The Spatial and Political Dimensions of Hazardous Waste Policy, calculated that the average cost to dispose of waste is $500,000. According to EPA's 2017 enforcement annual results, $1.43 million is the average fine cost for violating pollution prevention laws. So although cost is always an important thing to consider, we need to also think about how the decisions that we make affect the future. Thus, the idea that illegally disposing of waste is cheaper than paying the fines is invalid. Reason 2 can be refuted by simply looking at the problem of sustainability. Storage and Disposal of Waste, a physics paper written by a student at Stanford University, countered reason number 2 by explaining that when it comes to highly toxic waste, disposal techniques such as storage pools and dry casks are not an option, because when storing them, they take up space. This means that storage spaces only have a limited amount of space, as well as storing them in containers takes up space as well. This might not seem like an issue, but the problem is that the waste isn't disposed of. It is simply transferred somewhere else. The prevention of waste contamination is important, but we need to look at the sustainability because time is infinite. Space on Earth isn't. As such, I believe that we need to enforce the Pollution Protection Act because it does not address these issues seriously enough. I believe that if we enforce the Pollution Protection Act, this will cause reduction in companies' illegal disposal cases. If we prevent, hinder, or incentivize companies from illegally disposing of waste through the addition and reworking of sections in the Pollution Prevention Act's rulebook, then there will be a reduction in cases. And as of right now, that's all I have, because even though I know what I want to do next, I still need to think it out a bit more, and I will be able to do that by the end of 7 a.m. tomorrow, because it will take me about 5 more hours to finalize things. I guess just really because I really want to make my argument really strong and stuff. I don't know. And I know that since my speech isn't complete as of right now, I'll get a grade reduction on that, and I am totally fine with that. I mean, I accept it, and then I move on, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that by Tuesday, the speech will be ready and finished, and so you don't really need to worry about that. So, yeah.